We're less than 30 days from NBA free agency, and not just free agents, big trades. Every year it is something huge. Last season, Dame to the Bucks. Year before, Rudy Gobert to Minnesota. But one of the most legitimate rumors for this offseason, including now Klay Thompson and Paul George. But first, Karl-Anthony Towns. Cat equals one of the biggest luxury tax bills in NBA history. Whoever's gonna own the T-Wolves does not want that, especially after losing in 5 to Dallas. Let's face it, Naz Reid more than ready to step in, and they're built around Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert. What they really need now is a new young point guard. So the Hawks get Karl-Anthony Towns, the Wolves get DeJounte Murray and Bogdan Bogdanovic. Murray makes half the money as Cat. He's also much better without Trae Young. But Atlanta needs win-now players because their picks are going to San Antonio, so they roll with Cat, Trae, and that #1 overall pick. But where will Brandon Ingram go? The Pels can't pay a big luxury tax bill either, and BI is not worth it. They know Trey Murphy is better with Zion, but what does New Orleans need back? Rim protection and a true point guard. Can you believe they had the 4th worst rim protection in the entire NBA? No problem, Jonas Valanciunas is gone. But the answer is in that top 3. The Cavaliers had the #3 paint defense, but could flip one of their centers. So the Cavs get Brandon Ingram and the Pels get Jarrett Allen. It makes sense. They are that similar in value. You could trade them straight up. Both are all-stars, both 26 years old. BI fits much better with Donovan Mitchell in the backcourt than Zion. But this is only if they get Spida to stay. And if that happens, Darius Garland is next. Shams reported if Spida signs a new deal, Garland will request a trade. So who wants a point guard? The Pels, the Spurs, the Magic, Nets, Rockets, Wolves, Heat, and Suns. But I think San Antonio makes the most sense. They've got the assets and the need to get this done. An ideal fit with Victor Wembanyama, and a report says they want to be competitive next season. Darius has questions on defense, but better and cheaper than Trae Young. So the Spurs get Garland, and the Cavs get Keldon Johnson, Trey Jones, and 2 first-round picks. This works for Cleveland for 2 reasons. 1, they need a stretch forward to compete with the best front courts in the East. Keldon is 6'5", has shot 40% from 3. And 2, Trey Jones would be an amazing backup point guard for Spida, and they need depth. 2 picks also minimum for a guy like Garland. But will Michael Porter Jr. get traded? I mean, the Nuggets lost a 20-point lead in Game 7. MPJ shot 25% from 3. He went missing their last 3 games. What Denver lacked was depth. Everybody looked tired. Michael Malone just didn't trust their young guys like Peyton Watson. So it turned out, yes, losing vets like Bruce Brown and Jeff Green mattered. So the obvious solution is to trade Michael Porter Jr. The problem is his salary. Dude makes $36, then $38 million the next 2 years. That's tough with the new CBA. Very few teams can take that on, but the Pistons could get MPJ. The Nuggets get Jaden Ivey, Isaiah Stewart, and Quentin Grimes. Detroit just needs good players at this point. MPJ would become their #2 behind Cade Cunningham. The Nuggets get that depth that they need, and Jaden Ivey could become much more. I mean, he was just the #5 overall pick, right? But he's been misused by Monty Williams. If Denver wants to create a long-term plan with Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, this is it. Now, before we get to the biggest names on the list, we have to talk about the Blazers. They have so many vets on a crappy young team. I mean, Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Malcolm Brogdon, even Anthony Simons. I would be shocked if 1 or 2 of them didn't get moved. So who's their #1 guy to go? Well, in every mock draft, the Blazers take Donovan Clingan, who is a 7'2" center, so bye-bye dominating. So many red flags with this guy from day one. No, going back to the Suns days. I mean, the fact that he gave himself the dominate nickname, red flag #1. But in February, The Athletic reported, there was tardiness and tantrums with Ayton in Portland. But there was a 6-game stretch where he averaged 27 points and 15 boards in March. Somebody could talk talk themselves into this. So maybe the Pacers get Ayton and the Blazers get Benedict Mathurin, Jarris Walker, and a first. Now, Indy already tried to give Ayton a max contract. They like him. Plus, they made the conference finals without Ben Mathurin. He is a talent and a fit in Portland. But now, the biggest names. If the Clippers don't cave and give Paul George a 4-year max, they're in trouble, because multiple reports have linked him now to the Sixers, Knicks, Rockets, and Warriors. But how does that even happen? They can't give PG a max. Well, he can opt into his 1-year, $48 million player option and demand a trade. That deal would be Dubs get PG, Clippers get Chris Paul, Jonathan Kuminga, and Gary Payton II. This only happens, though, if Golden State lets Klay go in free agency. Right now, NBA rules would stop them from trading multiple players for just one guy, unless Klay walks, making them less expensive. This would extend Steph's window, but a new report says LA is going to offer PG a rare no trade clause just to keep him. But if Klay leaves, why not the Oklahoma City Thunder? OKC has money to pay Klay more than Golden State. A change of scenery might help him too. Yeah, Klay's not a great defender anymore, but now they got Alex Caruso and he hits threes. Klay's a perfect fit for a young OKC team, but Trae Young? Obviously on the way out. Can you believe he had the only 25-point, 10-assist season in the NBA, and the Hawks still missed the playoffs? That is so Trae Young. Plus, getting that #1 pick for Atlanta is the perfect chance to start with a new face of the franchise. So what are the pros and cons of Trae? Well, he is a one-man offense, but too small on defense, kind of like the anti-Rudy Gobert. An elite playmaker, yet somehow still considered selfish on offense. I don't know how that happens. A plus shooter. I mean, his 3-ball really came back, but not exactly a leader in the locker room. He's a 25-year-old all-star. Those are very rare, but a gigantic contract. So where does he fit? The Magic get Trae for Jonathan Isaac, Mo Wagner, Jet Howard, and 3 first-round picks. Anything less than 3 picks doesn't get this done. Isaac is one of the best defenders in the league. Perfect replacement for an aging Clint Capella. Did you hear what Paolo Banchero just said after getting eliminated? We need a guy who can set the table and be reliable. I mean, we got a lot of guys who can make shots and make plays, but I would rather be more of an offensive hub than a point guard, like Domantas Sabonis or Nikola Jokic. Trae Young unlocks that. And I know people are still going to doubt that Karl-Anthony Towns trade idea, but if you've been paying attention, it makes sense. But if you still want in-depth details, check out why things aren't looking great for Cat.